standard about when we stop and start these. At 10 o'clock's 10 o'clock, so a minute past, I think we'll get the ball rolling. The intention is to help people understand how you derive at a shop rate. It's a very simple equation, but then it gets a bit complex under that. So the simple equation is your operational costs divided by your hours that you're selling. So it costs you 50 grand a month to operate, and you've got 50 hours, then that's how you come up with your number. So we're just going to have a bit of a chat about that and the software program that we've got on Crashzone to help you with that. So with that in mind, if I can go back here, back one. So on Crashzone on the front page, you got the tools and shop rate calculator, and here we are. So that will put in, if you wish, you can put in all your operational costs for a time frame. Now, if you're doing it over a period of time with averages, you'll find that donations or cleaning might be a weekly bill, so we could potentially put in $100 and call it a week. But our bank charges are done quarterly, so we'll call them $50, and we just change that to per quarter. And we do that all the way down the list. Or there's nothing wrong with shortcutting that and putting in a number in there. Don't worry about what the titles are. These are more prompts about have you got that costed? Have you got workers' comp, superannuation, professional fees? Just whatever you might have as bills, test and tags, a good reminder that, oh, yeah, I haven't done that for a while. Well, what would it normally cost? So you put in all your costs. So I've got a set of numbers over here that I just quickly grabbed. And in this instance, the total operating costs for the business were 3211,900. So it was 3.2 million for the year. Right? Now that included profit, and it included an actual cost of development of the business. So we'd set aside 100 grand for business development. We'd set aside that. So in actual fact, the operating costs for the business were 2700,123. So it's 2.7, and then we had 500K's worth of profit because we can. So we get rid of that one. Delete, wherever it is. Backspace. Right. So these numbers are annual, but again, you could do this weekly if you wanted, or monthly. You find the annual ones are a better one for doing the calculation. So we just go back to that's where our costs have come. Potentially, you could put in other things around capital outlay or whatever you want to do for future. But once you've got what you think is you need to achieve that target of those numbers, you've got your operational costs, your profit, your capital improvement money, understanding that this is so that your business is sustainable and profitable. This is not about break even. This is about if I want to have a sustainable and profitable business, I need to have these sorts of numbers. So that's the way that bit works. So after that, in this business, there's from memory, just let me forgive me here for a moment, fellas. I'll just find the numbers. Screenshot. It was 6. So we're back with the mouse. Right, to 6 tradies and 6 apprentices. Right. So tradies do a 38-hour week. Apprentices do a 38-hour week. Right. Right. So there you go. Okay. The shop rate based on those numbers is $135 an hour. But the devil's in the detail there. Apprentices won't give you what you pay them and what you buy off your staff as far as labour is one number. What they can actually sell during the course of a week, this is where the big number is. So we had a chat on Crashzone, and I think the post is 28th of July. We talk about how many hours you can actually sell. So Just looking at this, we've got to take off the tradies 3.8 hours a week for holiday allowance. So that's I'm just going to round some of these numbers. So we'll take 4 hours off for that, makes it 34 hours. And you'll notice that the shop rate just went up to 142. So then we've got sickies, about 2 hours. So that's just factored into your general operational costs. Long service is about half a week, but we'll round that at 31.5. So again, it goes up. What else have we got? Long service. So public holidays are about 2 hours a week across the year. So we're back down to 29 now. We'll round that back to 30, so I'm not doing in points. So 30 hours. Idle time. Here's the cracker. So idle time's your smoko, the time the boys are in the toilet, da-da-da. So you average that out. It's about 2 hours a week according to industry stats. So we'll just change that down to 38 to 28 hours. Then we got the workshop time around moving vehicles, moving from one job to another. Just that time of waiting for the boss to tell you what's next or whatever. So this is your tradies. This does not count any of your staff in the office or your spare parts people. This is only the hours that you can actually sell. So you've got 6 men, you can sell 28 hours a week at this stage. So staff cleaning, etc., and moving vehicles around, as you know, probably half hour a day. But we'll just round that down to 2 hours, down to 2 hours a week. Then we've got training. We should be training our staff in the future. So how much time do you allocate for training? That's every business. Some businesses won't have any training required because they're comfortable that the skill set the business has got is enough to make it work. Others will be going, well, we need to get involved in look, all manner of form of things. It might be water paints. It might be some of the training that's on Collision Hub. It might be electric vehicle training, going to MTA House or wherever the training's coming from. You really should have an hour a week per man just to keep them up to date. But again, if they're training, they're not working. So we just take another hour of actual sold labour off. Then we get the big one, I suppose, is we all acknowledge that we need apprentices. So if you've got apprentices, they'll actually slow down the tradie. So you've probably got to allocate an hour or so for the tradie to teach the apprentice, just in supervision or explanation, whatever. So the 25, we'll be conservative and call it only 1 hour a week. It's probably more, but this is an illustration where if you can see what I'm doing here, you can go back to your own shop, put your own numbers in, and then come up with your own number. Toolbox meetings, OH&S, all those other fire drills, all that other stuff that makes you compliant. A lot of us don't do it. I'm guilty myself. But for the sake of this exercise, if we're going to do everything absolutely correctly, call that an hour a week in that type of work. So that's your trading. Now, we know that apprentices don't give you the same output. So you've sort of got to put a weight on them. So if a tradie is 23 hours a week, an apprentice will be less hours. So that's 38. It's probably closer to 18. Right? So what we get then is a shop rate of $250. So you go, wow, well, no insurer's going to pay that. No, they're not. But at the end of it, if you walk out to a job and it's going to take you 4 hours, you need to be looking at how can I create a $1,000 job out of that 4 hours work. If you want to be fully compliant, fully legal, and make your profit and have your workflows of this nature. So just what it's worth, where I wrote this $270,000, that includes all wages. That includes absolutely everything except your parts. So don't worry about the parts, keep them out of the system, and you have absolutely everything else in there. Your own wages should be in there, and the most important person in that business is the owner. He deserves to be paid well. So that money should be in that 2.7 mil. So that the leftover above that is the 500k above it. But you might look at this and you go, well, that's just not achievable. If you don't go for it, you won't get it. But it's probably an unrealistic. So you go, well, okay, now I'll put the challenge to you that you go back to the 28th of July on Crashzone when we're finished here and have a look at the list of things that I've written down and like an assessor, which one are you going to cross off? Which one aren't you going to do? You can't avoid holidays, you can't avoid sickies, can't avoid long service, can't avoid public holidays, you can't avoid, well, you can minimise idle time, but it's still there. Cleaning and moving vehicles has got to happen. Staff training should happen. Apprentice training is critical. It's not about what it costs, it's what does it cost if you don't do it. Toolbox meetings, OH&S drills, fire drills, you might get that 23 hours up to say 26. So if we go there back to 26, drops our shop rate down a bit. The apprentices, if you bring them up to speed pretty quickly, they should get a bit more nadine. I would suggest you're going to get 21 out of them. And again, that brings the shop rate down some more. Maybe I'm being greedy and wanting $500,000 a year profit, but again, if somebody else doesn't, if they think that's too much, well, that's their prerogative. But we'll wind that back to 250,000 for the sake of the discussion. Whoops, one too many noughts there, and we're at 200, which I don't know. This the misconception with shops is that we're not making money. Well, if you don't know what you need to charge, then that'll happen. If you think to yourself, we look good at 135 an hour when we were selling 38 hours per man, but we're not. So acknowledge that you're not selling it, then acknowledge what you are selling. And again, every shop will be a little bit different there. Another example is if that's not a 38-hour week model. If all these other costs happen anyway, but your shop might be a 42-hour week. So you can add 4 hours to every man there because of the overtime, so which will lift it to 30 hours a week, or alternatively drop your shop rate to 185, which will put you in around, a lot of shops are on that 180 mark. So again, let's have a look at what your real costs are, what your idle times are, what your non-sale times, and remember that with all your staff in this business that I'm looking at here, there's actually 18 staff in total, but only 12 of them are on the floor working. The other 6 are estimators, production managers, spare parts people, cleaners, your detailer. You can't charge out for details, or if you can, good luck to you. So anybody that's not on the quote or not doing what's on the quote, they're excluded from this. Your only hours that you're selling are the actual tradies and the apprentices. So just keep that in mind. And again, you'll pick out what your shop rate is. From that, it's about how do you get it. Well-written quotes, I believe, good well-written quotes, and you can get that reasonably well and reasonably easy. You're not going to get it on every job, but maybe somebody wants to go to the cheap option, well, let them go to the shop down the road. If you're providing good service and you're on time and you do jobs once and you quote it properly, then you'll get that number and you'll get those sorts of profits, and away it goes, and have a sustainable business. So just that was pretty much all we wanted to talk about today.